Okay, so welcome back to another YouTube video. Another week has gone by. Today is the 27th of May. We just finished up training pull, just done cardio. So this is the subject that I was thinking about on today's bike and yesterday's bike whilst doing cardio. Basically how to get around niggles and injuries in your training, and basically how to train around them so that you can still train your normal sessions pretty much, and still work the muscle that you need to work without bringing in the areas that maybe you've got a slight niggle or an injury. So this is coming from past experience, pretty recently actually. I don't know if I talked about it on here, but on my Instagram I talked about having a slight pec niggle, or maybe a slight tear in my right pec, which I did a few months back now. So it's fully recovered now, and back 100% pressing and stuff, but we had to go through the whole process of trying to work around this and trying to make sure that we were putting as much recovery on this pec as we could, but still coming in and training push twice a week. So probably going from the start, why it happened. I was doing my incline Smith. It was actually on a day where I normally train in the morning, so I normally train at 6, half 5, 6 in the morning. This day I trained at 1 p.m, so completely out of routine, out of sync. Didn't really feel like I was connecting well with the muscles at the time. Meals were timed differently. Pre-workout I was having at obviously like half 11, 12 in the afternoon, getting ready for training at 1. Usually my pre-workout I have before bed, and then train first thing fasted. So then already training with 3 meals in me, which you might think, okay, so you must be stronger, you must have more energy to train. Yes, but then it's just a completely different feeling with fullness, with I don't know, salts and stuff like that. It's a completely different feeling, and I much prefer training fasted over anything. I would train fasted. I can't train afternoon, evening. I could probably train midday. That's probably like the latest I could train. But training, afternoon, evening is just not something that I try and put into my training, because I just don't like it. I just don't feel like it does me any justice. So yeah, was on the top set of incline Smith. Was going for, I think, 4 plates aside for like 7, which would have been like a +1 in reps from the week prior, and I ended up getting 4. Obviously all these aspects of the different training times, meals and stuff, I got to my head a bit, and I'm a creature of habit and routine and structure, and obviously being out of place with training at different times, it just doesn't bode well for my mindset. So I was already off before even turning up to the gym, and then going through the sets and stuff, it just didn't feel right. Something didn't feel right at all. So warmed up, did my top set on the incline Smith. I think I got like 4, like I said, and the last rep I was obviously just trying to force it up, and it got to like probably 3/4 of the way up on the last rep. I was getting a spot as well, and that's when it happened. Like little niggle, wasn't like a full tear, wasn't anything serious. It was just something which the next day I was like, that's sore to touch, that's sore to stretch out and try. I tried different movements when I was in the gym the next day, and it felt very sore, and very tender. Like when I would unrack the weight from doing a incline Smith, that's when it would hurt the most, because the pec's on full tension at the top, and contracting at the top, so that's when it hurt the most. So I think I took probably altogether, going back and forth to training, recovery, and then having another go at doing a little top set and stuff and going back and forth, it's probably accounts to about 5 or 6 weeks that I was fully trying to recover this pec and working around it. So what I did straight away was take out the Smith machine. So I took out the Smith machine incline press, which was my main compound for push and my main compound for chest, and put in a pin loaded machine press, like a flat press instead of like an incline. So basically you're taking a lot of tension off that upper chest where the little niggle is, and putting it more kind of on a decline. which is what I wanted to do. And using pin loaded as well is much safer than using a barbell. You're not under the weight, so again, more safe. And yeah, so we swapped that out for the pin loaded chest press, which just stayed in the program for the following 6 weeks, and Smith machine just stayed away from that completely. Even though, you know, I wanted to carry on progressing, I just couldn't. The pain was too much to bear, and I didn't want to cause any more injury to what was already quite a slight injury or slight small tear. So that's what I'd say for the first thing that you want to do if you come across a niggle or a slight tear like that, is to take the movement where it's giving you the most problems, take that straight out of your program and swap it for something else. Definitely advise to do that. With my flies and stuff, we were just talking about chest, I kept them in, but obviously just kept the load fairly light and just wanted to get a lot of blood in the muscle. So that's probably the second point. You want to fill the muscle with a lot of blood and make sure you're getting a nice pump in the gym. Try not to go for too much power work and strength work, because obviously you just won't be able to do that, because the pec is, you know, under stress and not, it's trying to recover, and if you're just pounding weight on it all the time, it's just not going to recover. You need time for it to rest and build back up. So that was kind of the second thing we did, was added a lot of pump work into our chest workouts, and kept the rest periods between sets quite short, so the sessions shrinked a bit. They probably were like from 2 hours to like an hour and a half, which we tried to do. So that was kind of the main thing. Probably the third one, talking a bit more on like recovery now. I got a lot of tissue work done. So I got a lot of upper body tissue work done, obviously on the pec, but also like shoulder, bicep, forearms and stuff like that, chest, back, everything, pretty much the whole upper body, but mainly focusing around this area here, and all the muscles around it, so the delt and the chest around here, and then the bicep and traps and stuff like that. So we did a lot of work on that. I think I must have got in those 6 weeks, I probably got two sessions in, which, you know, I could have got more, but I felt like 2 sessions was enough, with also my recovery on the side as well. I did a lot of stretching, I did a lot of work in the gym to try and build and, you know, recover and build the pec back up to 100%. And it all kind of came down to just rest. I know it's quite boring of an answer, but it all did just come down to the amount of time that I rested for and took load off the chest, which actually helped the most. You know, you can work around these things, but when you don't want to injure it more, you don't want to cause more stress on the muscle, and you want it to recover, rest is probably your best bet. You can do a lot of isolation work, banded work, which might help, stretching again, getting one of those, the guns, the massage guns, you can get one of those just to create more blood flow and stuff. And that's really what you want to do. And our sessions, like I said, based our push sessions, which were the chest focused ones, around just building blood up in the muscle and getting that recovery kick started and doing it as fast as possible, because obviously we wanted to get back pressing hard, and that we were in the middle of a push then, so we were trying to push body weight up and trying to grow new tissue, and I just wanted to get back in and start packing on some more size. So that was my first one. That was kind of like an injury, we could say. And then if we move on to like niggles now, so for niggles, pretty much every bodybuilder will probably suffer from these things once in their career, or I'm not going to say career because I don't have a career, but in their bodybuilding journey, when you're training, you know, 5-6 days a week and putting your body through a lot of stress and lifting heavy load and doing that every single week in, week out, you're going to come across some niggles. For me, elbows, forearms, knees, so my patella tendons get sore once I go up to a very, you know, if I spend a lot of time on the hack squat with heavy load each week, my patella tendons get very, very tender, and I'm unable to fully do a hack squat set after like 3 or 4 weeks of squatting heavy. They take a little battering, so I've changed a few things on that, so we could talk about that for a bit. So patella tendon, like I said, after 3 or 4 weeks of heavy squatting, they do start to get tender, and it just means that when I go into the hole in a hack squat and try and press out, that's when the pain occurs in the patella tendon and just around the knee joint really. So what I did for that was changed up my stance. So I was going from like quite a wide stance on the hack squat and like probably halfway up the foot pad placement, to now what we're doing is bringing the foot down. So we're focusing a lot more on quads and bringing the feet more together, instead of kind of like pointing out a bit. We're kind of using it as like a close stance hack squat, which has been working very well. And it puts a lot of tension on the quads and off the knees, which is what obviously we want. So we've been running that now for a good month or two, and it's been working well. So that's what I'd say about that. If you're having problems with your knees on a hack squat or pendulum or barbell squats and any kind of big leg compound squat movement, change up your foot placement, have a look at what you're trying to actually target, because I think when my feet were like in the middle of the foot placement on the hack squat, I was using a lot of hamstrings and glutes in the hole, which is good. Obviously we want to build the overall leg, but that specific movement for that day is quad focused. So we want to put everything we can on our quads, which is why I moved the foot placement. So, and it helped a lot with my knees. So maybe change that up if you're getting some knee issues, and go from there. If we move on to elbows, obviously elbows can become sore or get a few needles in from pressing, but my elbows get sore from pulling. So any single arm work, heavy single arm work, or any pulling, if you're pulling from above the head down to your pocket, so any kind of lat movement, single arm nitro row, that's pretty much it. A cable Cybex Bravo cable pull down, single arm. If we're doing that for a good few weeks heavy, my elbows will start to flare up a bit and get a bit sore and tender, which can then carry into your push sessions and create a bit of stress in that as well. So what we like to do for that, again, is get some tissue work, because it normally stems from having tight forearms, which I definitely do have. So I've got some tissue work done on that. Trying to loosen up the forearms a bit, because they're very, very tight just from pulling and picking stuff up all day and pressing all that. Weird to fall as well. Excuse me. What was I saying? Yeah, elbows. And then what else? I tend to, sometimes when I'm doing pull, if they are a bit sore, I will put my elbow sleeves on, just to create a bit of heat around the elbow, which does help a lot. So what else? Forearms, again, this is something that I've been getting nails in recently and have been getting work done on this specific area. Again, it just goes down to getting some tissue work done and getting someone to really get in there and move those fibers apart and just help release any stress and tension that's in there, because you're going to get a lot of stress in the forearms just from day-to-day life, even if you're not training day-to-day life, and especially if you're training and pull downs, pressing, you know, putting weights back on the bar, taking them off. You don't realize how much you actually do that in the gym. Obviously every movement you're doing, if it's plate loaded or barbells, you're adding plates on, picking up, taking off 20 kilo plates. It's putting a lot of stress on the forearms. So over time, the stress is going to build up, and the forearms are it's only a small muscle, so it doesn't take long for them to get tight. Same goes for biceps. My biceps get very tight very quickly, to the point where I can't really do a full set on bicep curls because they just pump up straight away, and the range of motion is just shocking. So again, getting work done on that, and trying to, you know, release it yourself, doing some stretches between sets and all that. So we've gone through the pec, little tear, niggle, then we moved on to knees. You got your patella tendon and any areas around the knees, how to combat that and use different variations on foot placement on hack squats and stuff. And then leg extensions as well. You can focus more on bringing the bringing the shin pad further up the leg, so it's not too far down, as you're going to put a lot of more stress on the knee. So bring the shin pad further up the leg towards probably mid shin, and doing your extensions like that, which will take a bit of load off the knees and hopefully put it more on the quads. Then we moved on to elbows, any pulling movements, pushing movements, trying to work around that, making sure that your elbows are going in a straight plane of motion, and just checking load. It's obviously gonna, the reason it's causing issues is because you're using a lot of load on that one arm, pretty much, and forearms and elbows start to take over a bit. Once you get further into the set and reach more failure, that will happen. So just trying to work around that, like I said, using elbow sleeves, getting work done. Again, it stems from tight forearms, like I said, and trying to do that. You know, you could maybe swap to doing some upper back work, maybe, if you wanted to. If you wanted to, obviously we need to stick with some lat movements because that is prime focus in our pull sessions. So you could do some low lat work instead of pulling down. Maybe you could do something like that, and that's it. That's pretty what I've experienced, and the niggles that I try and avoid at all times. They're the ones that I've been through. I'm not going to talk about anything that I haven't, because obviously I think experience is, you know, it's a good piece of knowledge to have. It's something that I can refer back to and actually give you my full experience on it. So that's kind of the niggles that I tend to have and tend to crop up on, you know, a monthly basis pretty much, and just try and combat that and get around it and work around it the best I can without taking time off the gym. It's just finding movements really that don't cause an issue and cause pain, which is easy to find. Take out the movement which is causing you the most pain and swap it for something that isn't, and try it out for a few weeks. If it doesn't subside, then swap the movement out again and try something else. Just keep going around until you find something that is going to help you and something that is going to take any sort of stress off of that area. So I think I've spoken enough for today on that subject, but that just gives you an insight into what I'm going through, or what I've been through in terms of niggles and slight injuries, and how to work around it. So yeah, we're going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, do what you need to do, and we'll see you next week for the next video. Cheers guys.